friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my Q2 homeschooling update. We are officially halfway done with this homeschool year, which is absolutely mind-blowing, and I think I say that in every single video that I get on and update you guys about, because it truly is crazy. At the beginning of every homeschool year, I always feel like, okay, here we go, and then somehow we just end up halfway done with the school year, and I'm just thinking, how did that even happen? Like, I don't know, the weeks just fly by. So I'm gonna be recapping and covering everything, not everything, but a few things that I have selected to kind of update you guys on and share with you from basically homeschool week 9 through 18. If you're new, I homeschool for, traditional homeschool for 36 weeks out of the school year, so 4 quarters, 9 weeks a quarter. So once we've wrapped up week 18 in our homeschool, we are officially halfway done because we are now halfway to 36 weeks. So before we get too far into this homeschool update, I do want to thank today's video sponsor. It is Built Bar, and I truly have to thank Built Bar for giving me the energy to make it through homeschooling days. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in schoolwork with the kids that I will just completely forget that I haven't eaten in the morning or in the afternoon. I'll push through hunger, and so having Built Bar there to fuel me and not ruin my whole day while tasting like I'm having a delicious candy bar is the perfect homeschool mom snack. I will either have one in the morning, grab it as we go upstairs to start on our independence work, or I'll have one in the afternoon after wrapping up the school day with my cup of coffee. But Built Bar is my favorite daily snack. I truly eat one every single day, as well as my husband. I love that they each have 17 grams of protein or more in them, and the calories are all under 200. So it's truly not a snack that is going to ruin your day, but it tastes absolutely delicious. So I will have a link and a coupon code for you guys down below. You can check out Built Bar for yourself and save 15% on your order using my code Ashley15. And I do want to recommend that if you love Built Bar and you have found them, that you follow them on social media, because they are always releasing limited edition flavors, coming out with new things, and they do sell out quickly. So if you ever want to get in on one of those new flavors, you definitely need to keep up with them. And my discount code does work on all of those products as well. So thank you so much, Built Bar, for sponsoring today's video and fueling this homeschool mom to make it through her homeschool weeks 9 through 18. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to touch on with you guys for this Q2 homeschooling update is basically how I gauge where we're at. So this probably will be a no-brainer, but sometimes it takes someone else saying it for some of us to be like, oh, okay. So once we wrap up week 18, because you guys know I don't do lesson plans, I just do the next lesson on the next day, and all things in my homeschool, that is just what has worked for us for basically the entire duration of my homeschooling life. I always do like a temperature check basically at this point, like a gauge. So if my kids' course books have 120 lessons, we should be on 60 or somewhere around that. If they have 180, we should be around 90. You get the point. I look at where we should be at halfway. So if we come up a few lessons below 90, then I'm like, okay, we'll regain those. But this is also a good time to see, like, where we're at. So I don't panic if I'm a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, because I know that life usually evens those things out for me. But that is something that I do check up on, especially with my kids being older now and being in high school. It's a little more difficult for me to mentally maintain every lesson that they're on, because, for example, with BJU, the science course that my kids use, sometimes they will have like just a quick lab activity, and so they'll do another lesson. So So sometimes they're moving through the course in a little bit different of a way, if that makes sense, than just doing like one lesson per day. Sometimes there's like a practice test and then they do really well, so they want to do the quiz, and those things would be on separate days according to BJU, but my kids do them on the same day because that's what they want to do. So anyways, a temperature check at the halfway point is a good idea. Super excited to share with you guys that we're doing really well. So I wanted to touch on that. The science unit that we just started at the very first week, or I'm sorry, the last week of quarter 2, so this will carry us into quarter 3, is reptiles from the good and the beautiful. I have to tell you guys that this science unit is one of my favorite ones that we've ever done from the good and the beautiful, and that is saying a lot because I've pretty much done them all. This one is one of the more newly done science units, and I can tell some of the improvements in the way that the lesson flows and the activities and the videos, and I just am loving it, and so are my kids. In fact, my oldest son, who is in 8th grade, who is doing earth science with BJU, saw the unit and was just so intrigued by it because he loves reptiles, he loves fish, he loves all those things. He asked to do it with us, and of course I said yes. I mean, who wouldn't? But I think that that just goes to show, like, homeschooling, right? He asked me to learn more, and that was just such a wonderful, like, homeschool mom. That was one of those moments where God goes, here's a little bit of fruit to keep you going. You know, we have to notice those things. And that was one that I just wanted to share with you guys because it really, like, it made me, it hit me in the heart in the right spot. So that is, he is doing science with us. My oldest daughter is not doing reptiles with us because she is doing physical science this year with BJU, and that course is very intense. So I will leave it with that, but so awesome. So if you've never tried a science unit from the good and the beautiful and you're kind of thinking about it, do reptiles, you will love it. For our book, we are currently reading, and we'll be finishing this one up soon, but I wanted to mention it to you guys. If you've never read the book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, this is a must read. This is a book that is a must read to your children for in your homeschool. Add it to your list right now, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. I've been told that there's a movie that is available, I think, on Netflix. Unfortunately, we don't have a Netflix subscription, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to find it elsewhere. I've heard the movie is amazing, and my kids always love when we read a book and then watch the movie, so I think that that'll be a really fun family night that we'll be doing now that we've wrapped up quarter 2 and we finish the book in quarter 3, but that is a must-read book. It's so good. I have to tell you guys that. What I wanted to kind of touch base on how we did through quarter 2, because obviously the holidays fell in our quarter 2 of our homeschool, and I feel like this year I really probably had one of the best like Christmas schooling. I just felt really good about the way that we did things. I felt really good about all of the winter bundle activities that I did with my kids. I felt really good about the fact that I read them like 40, no exaggeration, 40 Christmas books. I just took time to be intentional and focused with that, and we took time off, and it really was so wonderful. So if you did not feel that way, my advice would be next year to give yourself more white space in your days to fill up with the things that matter most to you. And if that means temporarily stopping doing a few things so that you can just Christmas and enjoy and focus and pray and be present, then do those things, because it really was so rewarding for me. We did so many activities from the winter bundle, the educational bundles that I share with you guys, and they were so fun. And I was very thankful at the end of the Christmas season for how I felt in my heart, my mom heart, at the end of that. So there's been years where I haven't really felt that way, and so it was really nice to kind of look back and feel good about, you know, how it all went. One little update that I have for you guys for Q2 update is specifically for you moms who have high schoolers or who have older kids coming into high school. So this is all new territory for me, even though I've been homeschooling a long time. This is our first year of homeschooling high school, and we are still figuring out some of the kinks. So here's a little bit of wisdom that I've learned through the fire. Okay, so I want to word this right because I don't want to give away too much personal information. But all I'm going to say is that with high school, the goal as a homeschooling parent is to prepare your children to learn more independently as they enter into high school, right? Like, that is the goal. There are certain subjects that for the high school grades, I am just not wanting to teach one-on-one with my high schooler. And so it's important to give our kids kind of like the reins to those things, because they have to learn personal responsibility for navigating their education themselves. I mean, if they go on to higher education in college, they're not going to have someone who is going to be reminding them constantly and holding their hand through every single assignment. But it's also very hard to go from being like with you speaking as their teacher, for me, like, all basically we're doing everything together, to now you're doing everything on your own, which is why I only have about 3 things that I've given like the reins on. So, you know, guide yourself, and then it's just like checking in regularly. So there's a lot of grace that needs to be extended there, and there's a lot of learning and a lot of character building moments through learning what that means. What does it mean to know that you are going to have a quiz and then you choose to not inform your mom that there's a quiz, and then you didn't spend any extra time studying for the quiz, and then your grade reflects that? You know, like, those type of mom moments can be difficult. And so just something to be prepared for is like navigating that as you enter into high school, if you are wanting your child to gain more personal responsibility as they get older and learn how to be self-driven, self-accountable, self-motivated. All those things are critically important for their development as productive members of society, and honestly God honoring and God-fearing members of society. That you have to take personal accountability for your actions and your lack of effort and all those things. And so that can be really tiring. Like, character training, I think a lot of people in the homeschool world think about like little kids learning how to share, learning, you know, how to serve and all that. But like, character training as a teenager is difficult. It's hard, it's gritty, it's repetitive, it's frustrating, and yeah, so just be prepared for that is all I can really say with that. The other thing that I do want to mention that is new to us, because like I said, high school, this is our first year. In the past, in my homeschool, whenever we've planned breaks in homeschool, we just take a break and then we open up our course book and we get right back to where we're going when we come back from the break. That hasn't been working so well with my kids in high school courses, because they have quizzes, they have tests, they have semester quizzes, they have chapter quizzes, tests, end of chapter tests, and the courses that I was referring to where I've kind of given them the reins to say, okay, make sure you're, you know, doing what you need to do, and I'm just checking in with them. What was happening was a few times we would take a day or two off, and then they would come back, and then like the chapter test would be on the day we came back, but they had taken a few days off of school, and so they wanted to review and things like that, and so it was just getting difficult. So my advice as I'm learning this is to, when you know you're going to be off for a break, like we just took a break for Disney World, I had them count out the dates of when we were going to take time off to make sure that there were no big chapter tests or big quizzes that were going to basically be right when we started back, because naturally everyone wants time to refamiliarize themselves with the material. And so planning ahead a little bit more in that area was needed. And again, I'm learning this as I go and just passing on the information to you, but that is something that we've had to do differently in our homeschool for high school, but especially like in these quarter updates, that's something that I wanted to share with you guys. So the next thing that I wanted to mention in this quarter 2 update is that I did a mid-year curriculum update for you guys. I've never really done one of those, and you guys absolutely loved it, and I'm so thankful. I did take, a lot of you messaged me and said you could tell how prepared you were for that video. It was so full of information, and I'm so glad that you found it helpful. In that video, I talk about a health course that I am having my oldest daughter do, and a lot of you might remember from last year, she did health in the 8th grade, but I'm having her do a health course again because her brother, I changed courses, and I was just so much more satisfied with this other course that her brother did. And I wanted her to have that information and the way it was presented and all of that. So I added that in for her. So if you want to go and see like more about it, then go over and watch that quarter update. But yeah, or the curriculum update, that is another update for quarter 2, is that I've added health back in for my oldest daughter. Another thing that happened in quarter 2 is that we wrapped up our second unit of history with the Good and the Beautiful. We're using history year 4 from the Good and the Beautiful. I'm taking a temporary pause on history to begin our U.S. Constitution unit study. So excited to dive into that, and I think it's going to be really great. My goal is to finish it in quarter 3, so that way I can finish history in quarter 4, and we will have to move to doing history more than the recommended 2 times a week I think they have. We will probably be doing it 5 days a week, but that's okay for quarter 4 in our homeschool, because I am going to do the Constitution course with my kids, and that's just really important to me, and so I'm so excited. So that is something we are beginning in quarter 3, but we did wrap up unit 2 in our history course in quarter 2. The last thing that I want to touch on in this quarter 2 update of our homeschool is that a lot of you saw, all of you saw, that we went to Walt Disney World for a week at the end of January, and that was just one of those moments where I was just so thankful for the freedom of homeschooling, because we were able to just plan this trip and go and make wonderful memories together as a family and not have to worry about you know, school saying it's okay to be out or getting too behind on work, or the stress of coming back on the kids. Like, it just, those moments especially, you know, they just remind me of how thankful I am to be a homeschooling mom and have the freedom that we have. And so I encourage all of you mamas to just reflect on that freedom. If you're ever struggling with feeling, you know, just a little burnt out, just think of all the things that you're able to do that you would not be able to do if you did not make this choice, and tell your kids about that. My kids are well aware of all of the things that they get to do that they probably would not be able to do if they were not homeschooled. And I just think it's a good thing to pause and reflect on that often, and we definitely did that while we were at Disney World. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you guys for the quarter 2 update. Obviously, there were so many more things that I could have included, but I always try to keep it like bullet point style, and also I try not to repeat the things that I share on Instagram here, so I try to, you know, give it a little bit of a different variety, so you're not just hearing the same things over and over. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little chatty update on quarter 2 of my homeschooling. We are starting quarter 3, and it is going to be a focused time of learning. We are not traveling. It's going to be a solid, you know, 6 to 8 weeks of schooling before we take any more time off. diving into a whole new unit study on the Constitution. Gonna be just giving my full energy, mind, heart, soul, all those things to my homeschool as we refocus after taking some time off for traveling. But I'm excited for all that Q3 is going to bring, and I will be back to share a Q3 update with you guys once we wrap up Q3, which will put us at week 27. So I hope you guys are doing well. If you have any questions for me, post them down below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have for me. Make sure you check out the link and the discount code to Built Bar. All of that will be in the description box for you guys. I always appreciate when you use my links and my discount codes. If that's something that you've been wanting to try, it's just such a nice way to support my channel and keep me coming back to sharing information with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video really soon. Bye, friends.